us on today. I think it's a great opportunity. As we can see, it's clear folks working on trade are going to have no lack of work in the upcoming year in this new administration. So it's really good to see a lot of friendly faces here. So real quick on the Internet Association, we represent over 40 of the US's leading internet companies. We are across the board, e-commerce, cloud, search, sharing economy. We represent a really wide number of internet companies that are all over the world. And we're really working to advocate for policies that enable a free and open internet globally. So with that, on the topic that we're speaking on today, NAFTA, when it was negotiated 25 years ago, that was before the advent of the commercial internet. This was at a time where Mozilla was in the first stages of development. The World Wide Web was still a thought at CERN over in Geneva. There's a lot that has happened since NAFTA was negotiated, and this was long before digital trade was actually an area of focus in our trade negotiations. So you know, back then we didn't have online marketplaces, we didn't have the cloud. The app economy was nothing anybody had thought of. Smart manufacturing, Internet of Things, precision agriculture, machine learning. These were all science fiction at the point that NAFTA was negotiated. So since those days, the internet economy has grown into the largest and fastest growing sector in our U.S. economy today. This is directly employing nearly 3 million Americans. It's obviously related to many other jobs that are related, and it's actually a really strong point and a point of strength in our U.S. economy because we have a massive surplus in digitally delivered services, and that's $159 billion when it was last looked at in 2014. So not only is the internet transforming the U.S. economy, but it's transforming trade in a fundamentally positive way. You know, when NAFTA was negotiated, it took massive capital and resources to participate directly in trade. And today, hundreds of thousands of U.S. small businesses that are internet enabled are able to access customers in Mexico and Canada with the click of a button or the swipe of an app. At the same time, this is, you know, there's a lot of good stories on small business, but this is also a traditional industry story, from financial services to flat-rolled steel to dairy to appliances. Everybody is relying on the internet today, and the tools that the internet enables are helping further global competitiveness for these industries. There's a statistic: 75% of the internet's benefits are actually they actually go to more traditional industries. So with that, we really think that it's not only about internet companies, it's not only about small businesses, developers, entrepreneurs, content creators, but it's really about almost every sector in the U.S. economy. So shifting to NAFTA, when it was negotiated, if you actually do a search of the text, it doesn't say the word internet in anywhere within the agreement. So it has little on the information flows. The intellectual property chapter has some detailed rules, but overall doesn't have the provisions that are critical to the internet economy. And to be honest, those provisions of U.S. law hadn't even been put in place. Those weren't in place until the late 90s. So NAFTA clearly has some places that not only is our public policy developed quickly, that we could really look at updating. So one other piece to this puzzle on the internet economy and digital trade is that without TPP, we have no global standard that's been agreed upon widely on digital trade. So I believe that it's essential for the U.S. to really see this as a huge strength of our economy and move very quickly to complete rules in this area globally that will allow our companies to function in the future and not be blocked as just because they're U.S. companies. So I really think that whether it's NAFTA or some other bilaterals that are being discussed, we need to move quickly to crystallize the rules in the digital trade space so that we're the ones around the world leading. So just, I'll go quick, but in terms of NAFTA, we see some pretty important updates in the e-commerce space on data flows and digital services. So this would be the free flow of information, data localization restrictions. We also see an issue of intermediary liability that here in the United States has been a principle in our Communications and Decency Act since 1996 that allows individuals to post content on any number of services. This could be a review on an e-commerce website. This could be a cloud-based service that's hosting content for one of their customers. You're able to post that content freely, and at the end of the day, the internet service is not liable for what that content is. So we actually, in the US, see Section 230 of the CDA is a critical component of our domestic legal apparatus for the digital economy. So we see that as a place that should really be included in future trade negotiations, including a potential NAFTA rewrite or renegotiation. I think that there's also some other places, open digital markets. NAFTA allows for some broad cultural carve-outs that limit the distribution of U.S. content through internet services. We see areas like encryption and source code that would be really critical to get some enforceable rules in. And then we'd also push for no customs duties on digital transmissions, and then also look at some unnecessary regulation of online services that we're starting to see pop up in many countries around the world. So shifting to intellectual property real quick, for again, as I touched on Section 230 of the CDA, in the intellectual property space, we also see safe harbors to posting online content as critical for the growth of the digital economy. So two places that I would hope that negotiators would start looking quickly on fair use, which is a limitation and exception to copyright. This essentially, without it, the internet economy doesn't exist. U.S. innovation leadership doesn't exist. These provisions allow web searches, machine learning, text and data mining. It gives cloud-based technology the ability to copy content without the explicit permission of the copyrighted material, and then share it. Obviously, there's mechanisms in place that protect against theft and illicit activity, and we fully support those, but for the online ecosystem to work and function appropriately, we need to see some limitations and exceptions in this space. Again, back to safe harbors, and this is also critical for the copyright space as well. This is portions of our Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and many of these provisions were negotiated in TPP, but we don't see TPP as starting place, finishing place, etc. I think we see it as a good reference point, but there could be other areas that we want to move forward in as well. And lastly, I just want to mention, and Ralph will probably jump in here as well, but customs and trade facilitation are also critical for internet-enabled businesses and what we call micro businesses, which is often just the one person, Etsy seller in middle America that is shipping all over the world. So as we see some of these barriers in the services space, we're also seeing barriers on the customs side that duplicative paperwork and really difficult procedures to get small packages, very small, low-cost packages in. And that's another place that I think that we look to see some work done is on de minimis thresholds for small packages, which I think is again a place that really affects these small online sellers. So with that, I think we see a NAFTA renegotiation as a great opportunity for our industries, and look forward to continue the conversation.